Kia ora and welcome to another episode of the Leadership Lounge, a space for healthcare leaders, whatever your role, whatever your job is right now, to take a moment to pause, to think, to reflect, to get that fresh perspective on the work that you do. I'm Katie and I've got a history of over 3 decades of working in healthcare, and now I work with leaders like you to help them manage the demands and the complexity of the work that you do right now. So this week, I did something really singular and focused this week. And as I sometimes practice what I preach, I did a reflection afterwards around how it had gone and what I had learned and what had gone well, what I would do differently, all of that sort of stuff. And I realised as I did that reflection that several of the things that came out really resonated with the stories that I'm hearing from healthcare leaders today. So I thought I'd share the story of what I got up to, what I did, what I learned from it, and those bits of gems that I got, those insights and usefulness I got from the reflection that I did, that I think are going to help you for where you're at. So first up then, the context, what was I doing? So I need a little bit of a backstory here. So as you know, I've been probably for about over 2 years now working for myself, supporting healthcare leaders. And it was built off that background of working in healthcare for so long. And that came about because of that, you know, that phrase around what's the thing you'd do if you knew you couldn't fail? It was that kind of impetus around why I actually got into this business in the first place. And it's because I care so passionately about the work of leadership in healthcare. I really wanted to be able to use my time, my skills in the best way possible. But starting up and working for yourself is a huge leap, having worked in a pretty stable job for a long time. And so one of the things that I did to enable and support me in that journey, I hate the word journey, but anyway, through that time, was to join Alicia Mackay's Consultants of Choice. And this has been going for a couple of years. It's formed a great community. There was all these lessons online. We had coaching calls, we had office hours, and it's been phenomenal, and I have learnt a lot. However, for some good reasons, that is coming to an end. And so I wanted to make sure I had sucked everything out of the course, and I decided that I was going to dedicate a whole day to sitting down and doing all of the modules. Now, I'd done a few of them, and we had touched on some of the topics in the different coaching calls, but I hadn't done all of the work, and I really just wanted to make sure there was nothing I was missing. So it was quite a focused and quite a committed kind of time to this. And so there I go. I sit down on the Friday. I've got it all sort of sorted. So I wanted to share and that's what I did the whole of the day. Turns out I needed a bit of Saturday as well, but I'll get to that bit. So what were the things? So as I sat down and reflected after spending the whole day doing these courses, the first thing I need to just point out, if you ever get a chance to work with Alicia Mackay, I think, go for it. There is such wisdom, such experience, and the amount of time, effort and thought that she has put into all of that work was phenomenal. It was this experience and energy and wisdom just bottled into a really practical course. So it was just phenomenal to just wonderful content for a start. So that was just a kind of aside. It was really well done, and it was really practical and really relevant to me. So I think those things are important when you're sitting down to do something which is a big mountain of a task that I was faced with. So the good things the things that went well. First up, there was some timing practicalities. What was really cool on the course was you could tell how long each of the videos were going to take, how long each module was going to take. And so I could actually just pop it into my calendar and go, right, that's that. And knowing that it's going to take I could run it at faster speed than actually normal speed. Okay. But equally, I knew I would need to do a bit of work and thinking, and I'd need to dive off into other stuff. So I could get a really good ballpark of how long each module was going to take. And so with that prep and planning, I knew I was going to need more than Friday, because I can't do the all-nighter into the evening. I was going to be stopping at about 5-6 o'clock. Thank you very much. So I could sit down and have dinner and a glass of wine. So I knew I was going to need a bit of Saturday. So first up, I think this is, I think when you're sitting in that space of overwhelm and a long list of tasks, The simple act of working out how long something is going to take you is magic. So you can think you've got this ginormous list, you're never going to get through it. And then you actually go, oh, that's only going to take me about 5 minutes. That'll take me 10. Yeah, that's going to take me 3 hours, but that'll only take me 15 minutes. Oh, that's actually a 2-minute job I could do right now, actually. So I put that kind of thinking into a couple of the resources that I offer, my Get It Done sheets, my Help Me I'm Overwhelmed sheets, those type of things. I think it's one of those things that it's easy to forget. And a lot of the to-do lists don't really have that thing in it. We talk about prioritization, but actually the amount of time you really need, and you can get practical about it, and you can think about everything takes twice as long as you think it's going to take, even when you take into account the fact that it takes twice as long. You can run off in that direction, but to get a kind of, this is going to take me about this kind of time. So that was something that I did that was really good. I knew it was going to tap into the Saturday. Then the second thing I did was as well as the planning and the prep, it was getting set up well. So did I have all the workbooks? Did I have all the other sheets? Did I have all the other notes I'd made from the course, from the coaching calls that I'd been on? Everything was in one place so that I knew I was building on what I had done the first time rather than starting from scratch. So I think that's quite important, particularly in healthcare, when often we are faced with similar problems or the same problem or the same issue that comes back. And it can feel like you're starting from scratch, but actually you're building on something. You're building on the work that's already been done. Now this is, we could go off on a whole tangent on this one, definitely. But I think the other thing to bear in mind when you're a leader in healthcare is if you're stepping into a new job or you're starting a new project, yes, there's going to be some new things that you're going to be learning and trying to understand, but equally, you're coming from a space of experience and knowledge and wisdom that you're bringing into that. And it's a lot like when you think about your career going all over the place. If there's been a setback or a mistake, you're not starting from scratch. You're starting with experience. You're starting with the lessons from whatever went wrong. So that was quite good. I was building on what I'd already done. The other part of setting up well for me is about snacks. I'm the type of person, if you're going out for a walk that's going to take a couple of hours or a day, I'll make sure you have lunch and plenty of water for the day, and that's fine. But I will also pack for the unexpected. Like, I always imagine someone's going to trip over, break their ankle and get stuck there. So I always have waterproof stuff, first aid stuff. First aid stuff is a bit irrelevant really when you're in the middle of nowhere. But I have snacks and water and things like that for the emergencies. So there's something about snacks. I just enjoy food. So I made sure there was enough healthy food for me to be eating during the day. Adam was going to be out for the day. I had the place nice and warm, comfy clothes on. It was all set up as well for me to get the most out of the day and to stay energized and motivated and fueled through the day. So the setup is important. So far we have got the timing, the planning around how long is this going to take? Where am I going to actually find this kind of level of focus and time? And then the setup, the preparation, what do you need to be successful in this and what's going to help maintain you? And then the third thing that went really well on this occasion was one chunk in the time. A few of us that were in the community had gone, hey, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's get together and share the time together. So we all got on Zoom and we all met and said hi and that's it. And then we got on with the work. Now, we weren't listening to each other talking. We were just all there together. Now, this sounds weird, right? If you've not done this before, you're like going, uh-oh, she's finally lost it. Do you not spend enough time on Zoom as it is? All of those things are true. So this idea of co-working, particularly in that virtual setting, first came across from Kelly Irvine and her expert author community, and heads off to Charlotte Blair and Melissa, who were two of the people I spent a lot of time in the co-writing sessions with. Now, this is phenomenal. You get on and you say, okay, hi, how are you going? All that, that the general whakawhanangatanga in that space. And then you decide what your intention is for the time that you're going to spend together. And then you get on and do it. And then at the end of that time, you go, hey, I did this, I did that, how did that go? And it is when you're working on your own and you're self-employed, this or writing a book or other projects that is predominantly isolating or that you're doing singularly, it is an amazing accountability tool, but it is also a great way of staying connected with people. So translating that into the healthcare sector, where you are less likely to be isolated or on your own. Really interesting, right? So a number of times when I speak to leaders, particularly new leaders, they talk about how alone they feel. So although you are surrounded by people and there's lots of stuff and you're in meetings and there's just people everywhere all the time, they still find leadership roles isolating. And that can be something new to kind of get used to. So while you might not want to set up a Zoom meeting with other people, it is a really important point about the peers that you're connecting with, because they can really understand your world. So if you're a charge nurse, another charge nurse, team leader, another team leader. If you're a general manager, another general manager, nurse director, another nurse director, whoever it is that you are, find those people that are in similar roles. They don't need to be doing the same job as you, the same work as you, or in the same team as you, or even in the same hospital or community setting as you. But these people are going to have similar problems, similar challenges, and just connecting with them and going, hey, should we grab a coffee? You've suddenly got this space of learning from people in a similar role, building your network, which we know is a great element for well-being and motivation and energy and staying well, all of that sort of stuff. Our networks are so important. But also there's that ability for you to share, for what can you give into that space. The community settings that I've had the privilege to be and the joy of being part of since I've started in this experience that I'm doing right now have been phenomenal. And it's been a lot about as much as what I have given as what I have received from others. And there's a lovely line I would use quite a lot. You get what you give. The amount you put into something is the amount that you're going to get out of it. And that is the same for your connections and your networks. So yes, there is space for you to be able to troubleshoot some problems, but they're also there for you to offer advice and guidance and help and ideas. And then this magic thing about holding each other to account. I'm currently in a little bit of an accountability thing with this wonderful coach that I've met called Nikita. And she and I just set each other a little goals, and she's really cool because she writes them on the email, the calendar invite every time. I don't take any notes. She's really good at that. And we'll come back every couple of weeks and go, oh, you said 2 weeks ago that you're going to do this. How's that going? So there's the accountability factor when you're meeting with other people. Hey, how's that thing progressing? Not beating yourself or anybody else up. It's just about that little spur. Because it can be really easy when there's a million things to do to get distracted. And if you've decided that X is a really important thing to do, like I decided it was really important that I made sure I got the most out of all these modules, then having someone to hold you to account for the things that you've said are really important really can make a difference in actually progressing and making the gains that you want to make in the role that you're doing right now. Okay, so they were 3 things that went really, really well when I did a bit of a reflection. A couple of things that I noticed when I was thinking about, okay, what wasn't quite as good? What were interesting parts about it that surprised you or that stood out? The first thing I noticed was that when my flow got interrupted, it was really hard to stick with it. So admittedly, it might have been by the fact that it was getting to the end of the day, but Adam and his brother came in, and so there was this noise and chatting going down, and I thought, should I go down there and be sociable and all this kind of stuff? So I thought, okay, let's go down there and then I can always come back to it. And it was just like, no, that momentum and flow has now shifted. I can't get back into it. That's fine. I'm going to pick that last little bit up tomorrow anyway, because I had that time sorted as well. So there's this really interesting thing about being able to notice your energy and where it's at. Now, this is challenging because in healthcare, you're often not given that level of freedom around when certain things can be done and when they've got to be done by. And if you're on a shift, you've got to be on a shift, right? But I think noticing your energy is really important because there's a lot that you can do in that space that you can to help make the most of that situation regardless of what your energy is at. And managing your energy versus managing your time is one of those key leadership conversations to sort of have. And it can be things like, when are you most likely to be at your most focused? If you've got some deep work to do, when are you most likely in the day when your energy is more distracted, when you could do with some simpler tasks to be done? So within those scopes of noticing where your energy is at, you can make some tweaks to your day that can make your day a little bit more efficient. So noticing your energy, noticing the flow of work and how you maintain that. And then the last thing that I noticed, or the thing that I became almost quite anxious about, was this real conscious awareness that I was about to tip into an overwhelmed state. As I was working through the modules, I was making lists of the things I needed to do and go back and revisit that. And, oh yeah, that's a good idea. And, oh yeah, you made some progress there, but now you can evolve it even further. And as I was getting towards the end of the day, I was like, oh my God, I've got so much stuff. Oh my God. And I could have very easily tipped into this is all pointless. Why am I bothering? You know, that kind of dramatic effect that I like to do from time to time. So it was really good to just be aware of that and to notice that was coming on. And how I managed it, I was really proud of how I managed it, because I let it had its run around for a start with the post-it notes that were getting a little bit on the list. I'm like, just calm it down, girl. And it was talking to myself like I would if I was talking to a good friend. And I think that's one of those bits of advice that I give out to people on a very regular basis. And it's a really important thing to remember. So it was, Katie, you're doing this all in one go. It's a lot. It's an awful lot you've covered in one go. You're not supposed to have done it like this. It's not designed to have been done in one go like this. It's okay. You've got your lists. Make the lists. Find the things that you want to do first. Get some help. And then just keep taking one step after another. It's okay. You're doing okay. You're doing fine. You've made huge progress from when this course first started. So talk to yourself like you would talk to a good friend. So really easy with the amount of work that's on your plates right now to flip into that state of overwhelm that can quickly escalate to the I'm terrible at my job, I'm no good, what am I doing here? Sort of story that we can tell ourselves. Talk to yourself like your best friend would talk to you right now. That's my advice. So there you go. Having done that really focused and singular thing, and yes, I did at the end of got up on the Saturday morning and finished the module off and have a long list. I actually started a bit of a board on Canva to try and spread out and clump together the different things, and so that I could collaborate with someone to get some help on all these things as to who can help me with various different tasks, and having a shared conversation about what are the things I need to be focusing on first. So that realization that you don't have to do it all on your own. My second most favorite quote, probably. So there you go. Having spent the whole day and a bit of Saturday into that, have a great timing plan. Know how long, or estimate how long you think things are going to take. Can be really useful for sorting the wood for the trees slightly when you've got this long list of tasks to do. What's a 5-minute, 2-minute job that you could clear off quickly at the end of your day? And what are things that you need to find the time for to actually dedicate to be able to do that job well? When you've worked out those timing things, set yourself up for success, whether that be about the environment, who you need to be working with, what information you need before you get going, and obviously, very importantly, the snacks and the coffee that you're going to need. Think about who you can connect with. Who is it that's in a similar role that you can help support them as much as they help and support you? Who is it that you can start to broaden your network out from beyond that immediate team that you're working with? How can they help you hold you to account for the things that you have decided are the priorities that you're working on? What is it about your flow of energy during the day that you can learn from as to when to put those different things in? And how good are you at noticing when your energy and flow is shifting or interrupting? And how good are you at adapting in that moment rather than fighting it? And then if you're thinking about that, flipping into overwhelm and tripping down the I'm not good enough, why on earth am I in this job, I can't do anything, that story, take a step back. Start talking to yourself kindly. Remind yourself you've got this. Remind yourself of the experience, the wisdom, the things you've learned so far up to this point, and talk to yourself like a good friend. There's quite a lot of resources that I'm thinking of as we're talking just now. So definitely the overwhelm sheets, or help me I'm overwhelmed, or the get it done sheets. They're really useful for helping pulling out that sort of stuff. Also thinking about the resources that I often share around that building a network, your Square Squad, how you connect with other people. And then the noticing your energy. I've got this really cool thing that's reminded me I now need to potentially do a podcast on that. This idea of what's your energy like and how do you track it, and what do you do if it's not high or if it is really high? What are the different things you can do? So as always, there will be links in the show notes to these and many other topics that I always think of after I've recorded and said goodbye. And that's it for this week. Big breath there. That was a big story. I was so excited about telling this story. When I did the reflection, I was like, oh my God, I had such a great day. And it was because it was, as we talked about right at the beginning, it's something that was very relevant. I was very excited about it. It was good quality. There was a lot I was going to gain from it. So all of those things, it's just useful little, I'm not going to explore anymore. They're just useful little ideas for you to just ponder on around the work that you're doing. And a nice simple list of things that I got out of it when I did the reflection. So a subtle hint at, or not so subtle as it turns out, hint at why reflection is such a powerful tool and what you can get from it, and how it then helps shape what you do next and what you could do differently. All right then. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Leadership Lounge. I look forward to next week and the topic that's going to be coming up. I'm Katie, I'm your host, and take care, have fun, and I will speak to you next week.